You know, I always wanted to be a writer, ever since I was a little kid. And I worked so hard at it, and for so long. So, how did I end up here? You know, I've been carrying this box with me most of my life. It was in the backs of closets. It was in the basement of our apartment in New York. And now it's spent the last 6 years here in our garage in Arizona, gathering dust. So inside this box is all of the things that I wrote, starting probably around the age of 11 and going all the way to my mid-20s. And I had a good imagination, so I just made stuff up and I wrote it down. And I started probably when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I continued through middle school, through high school, through college, and then even after I got my first job, I would write. I would write after I'd done my homework, after everybody else had gone to sleep, on the weekends, whenever I could. I just loved words, I loved books, and I just wanted to be a part of that. Now, this is all long before the internet and social media. There were no blogs, there was no Substack, there was no YouTube. And if you wanted to get a story published, you had to go through a publisher. So I started sending out my stories, and I had this fantasy that as soon as a publisher saw my work, I'd be in. There's just no doubt about it.
This boy's story is wonderful. I must publish it right away.
And then I'd become this incredibly successful novelist. I'd spend the rest of my life writing books and going on TV shows to talk about them.
So, how did it feel to win the Pulitzer?
I just said, not again. However, every one of my stories got sent back to me in my self-addressed stamped envelope with a form letter from the publisher saying, thanks but no thanks. I guess after a while, everything just went into the box and nobody's read any of it. Now, eventually, I did publish books about creativity and art making, and I became an author, a different author than I thought I was going to be when I was filling this box. And then recently, I decided I was sick of the publishing world, and I decided to start publishing my own books. And I've put out a couple that have done really well recently, and I really enjoy it. I'm a bookmaker. And then I thought to myself, what if that young boy whose whole dream was to have his name on the cover of a book of his stories, what if I could do that for him? What if I could take the stuff that's in this box and make it into a book? Even if I make just one copy of it, I'm going to honor the work, the effort, the dreams of that boy, that young man, and all the effort that went into this box. And I'm going to make a beautiful book, the kind of book that should have come out 40 years ago, but didn't. Today we're going to unpack the box and see what's inside. All right, this is a play that I wrote. Yeah, this is most of a book that I wrote about the bars of New York. This is a book proposal. Journals, writing, another journal, more composition books. This whole thing is full of stories. Okay, so there's a lot to go through here. I've got to figure out what's good and what's usable, because I want to represent all the different stages of my writing, but I want to make it, entertaining and a good book in the end. There are good stories that I wrote when I was 11, and there are not great stories that I wrote when I was 21. And there's so many different kinds of stories. There's stories that are science fiction, that are fantasy, children's novels, comedy. There's stories that are kind of very hard-bitten, reality-based. Some of them are complete. They've been edited. They're spell checked. And then there's others that are just kind of a mess and handwritten. And, they're going to need some work.
When I was 6 or 7, I never thought of myself as small. I don't remember being able to walk under tables. I don't remember perceiving adults as they're depicted in Peanuts, knees, shins, and feet. Spoons didn't seem like tennis rackets or teacups like bathtubs. When I was small, I didn't see it. And though my head is now a couple of feet higher above the ground, I'm afraid my thoughts are no more lofty than when I was knee-high.
All right, the box is now in the studio. I've organized it a bit, and I've started to make my first round of selections of the stories that I want to work with. I have to take them from being on sheets of paper, some of which are 50 years old. Next step is to start scanning the pages in my scanner. I've scanned probably 100 documents now. Some of them are handwritten, some of them have markups on them. I go through each document on my iPad, fixing typos, grammar, misspelling, and doing some light text editing if it needs it. But most of the time, I'm trying to leave these stories basically as I wrote them, because they're not bad. So the next stage was to create one single Word document that has all that stuff in it. And I've also written introductions to every single one of the stories, just putting a little bit of context around it. And also I wrote an introduction to the whole book explaining what this project is. And now I'm putting everything into InDesign, which is the layout program that I've used to make a lot of different books. And I'm starting to make decisions about all of the things that go into making a book. First of all, what is the typeface? Are there more than one typefaces? Do different sections get different typefaces? Should it be like handwritten like my other books? I also have to think about the page design. How big are the gutters? How big, what is the actual design of each story? What kind of a title does it have? What does the header look like at the top of the page? So that's what I'm up to. And now we get to the fun part, which is designing the cover for the book. And it's a surprisingly arduous process coming up with the cover, because in a lot of ways the cover is the product. That's when people go to a bookstore or they look on Amazon, that's what they see as the cover. And the concept here is it's a box of stuff that nobody wanted to publish and nobody felt was good enough, and now it's a book. So I decided that I'm going to call it Unpublishable. Sort of the twist being it's unpublishable and yet it's been published. So anyway, so then I did this drawing of a typewriter, and it's actually a gouache painting that I also then enhanced a bit in here in Procreate. Now I've taken my illustration of the typewriter and I've placed it into my design program. You can see up here Unpublishable. It's in a sort of a distressed typewriter type. Looks kind of, I don't know, a little 80s, a little funky, I don't know. Down here, a little quote from the New Yorker. It says, "We've read your submissions, but unfortunately it doesn't meet our needs at this time. Thank you." Wah, wah. The back page is a picture of the artist as a young man. And then on top of it, I've laid more quotes from critics. Joyce Carol Oates, the Paris Review, and a nice one from Ms. McElnay, my 9th grade English teacher, saying, "Very good work." And then, of course, a little description of the book. I like it, and I'm the publisher and the author, so that's all that matters. We're going with it. Okay, I'm done with this phase of production, which means I now have a PDF of the inside of the book, and I have the outside cover, the front, the back, the spine, That's a separate PDF. I'm now uploading both of them to Amazon KDP, which is my printer. And when they have processed everything, I'm going to get a chance to see what this book actually looks like. My book's up on Amazon, and I just ordered my first copy. There's a paperback version, there's an ebook version I can read on my Kindle, and there's an audiobook version I can listen to while I walk my dogs. Will I be the only person who ever buys this book? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. What matters is it's out of the box, and it's a real thing now. It's a real book in the real world, and I can't wait to get my copy. Here it is, 50 years or 2 months or some huge length of time in the making, but it's made now. And it's just exciting to hold this in my hands, you know, in this form, and to flip through it. And when I flip through it, it's like, this is a real book. And it's real good, I think. I really do like it. But I think this has also been an opportunity for me to think about my past and to think about myself as an artist and as a writer, and how much can I support myself? Can I do more to encourage myself, to believe in myself? It's good not just because it's got somebody else's stamp on it, but because I enjoyed making it. I put myself into it. It's authentically me, it's real. That's what this whole process has been about for me. It's been this opportunity to say, I'm not going to leave my stuff in the box. I'm going to give it its due. And I'm going to learn a lot in the process. It's not just about what the final thing is. It's about what was the journey, what was the thing that got me here. That's what I am most interested in, is the experience and the adventure. And let me just show you the dedication for Danny at 13. And if you turn to the very last page of the book, that's me when I first started writing and filling that box. I wonder how he would feel about seeing this with his name and his picture in it. I hope he'd love it.